Elon Musk was recently on Joe Rogan's podcast, and apparently he basically lit up, and he lit up both literally and symbolically. And then Elon says, quote, "Twitter's next board meeting is going to be lit." I think what he's saying is that this is not just a guy who wants to buy Twitter shares. He doesn't just want to become the largest Twitter shareholder. He's becoming more of an activist, and I think this couldn't come. This is not coming. This is coming when we really need it. And Musk has, after first buying the shares, now joined the Twitter board, which means he's going to be showing up at board meetings, and he's going to be in a position of authority because, after all, this is a guy who has the ability to buy a lot more shares and basically sees, you can say, virtually full control of this company. And the big shots at Twitter know it. So Parag Agarwal, the Indian CEO of Twitter, he's like, I welcome Elon Musk to the board. And Jack Dorsey, I welcome Elon Musk to the board. So these guys are sounding the right noises, and they have to, because they really don't have any choice. I mean, Elon Musk could buy these two guys out and put them out on the street with pocket money as far as Elon Musk is concerned. Now, apparently, Elon Musk's presence on the board is sending shockwaves through Twitter, and conservatives have actually been aggravating this angst on the part of the left by saying, "Bring back Trump, bring back Trump." Lauren Boebert tweets in all caps, "Bring back Trump." Now, the Twitter staff immediately goes rushing to the New York Times and rushing to Reuters to say, at Twitter, board members don't make policy. Policy is made at the administrative level. So these fools think that somehow, just because the manual says that policy is made by the staff, that board members don't have any impact. Well, welcome to the real world, guys. Board members control organizations, and the way they do it is by hiring and firing people. And so if the guys in charge aren't carrying out policy, you know what? Remove them, bring other people in their place. Now, a few guys on Twitter have already quit, and I think this is actually fantastic news. These are obviously intellectual thugs who are afraid of free speech. They're afraid of things like Elon Musk's statement where he goes, "Why should Twitter be, quote, the de facto arbiter of free speech?" In fact, one of the things Elon Musk did is about a week before he made this big purchase of a 9.1% stake in Twitter, he polled his 80 million Twitter followers, and he goes, "Hey, listen, tell me whether Twitter lives up to the principle of free speech." The majority voted no. And by the way, it should be said that Twitter is the best of all the social media platforms in terms of free speech. Facebook is an absolute joke. Facebook is essentially you may say, a meta voice of tyranny. YouTube is exactly the same. So these are the thugs of the free speech world. And Twitter is not quite a full-scale thug. It's kind of a half thug. But it's better than the other two, although it's still pretty bad. I mentioned, I think yesterday or the day before, how Twitter bans the Babylon Bee for making a joke. And in fact, Musk had called up the Babylon Bee guys. He goes, "Is it really? Is it that bad that for a satirical site, they ban you for making jokes? What a satirical site's supposed to do?" And so I think Musk realizes there's a deep problem here. Now, in a way, Musk has a great opportunity on Twitter that he doesn't have or wouldn't have on Facebook. Why? Because Facebook is structured in such a way, there are kind of two classes of shares. You can invest in Facebook, sure. But even if you buy a whole bunch of shares, it doesn't give you any control because there are two classes of shares. And the majority of you can call it the ruling class shares are owned by Zuckerberg. So Zuckerberg maintains control of Facebook no matter what financial stake other people buy in it. Twitter's not like that. There's only one class of shares. And so basically he who provides the gold, this is the golden rule, he who provides the gold makes the rules. And I think Elon Musk figured that out, and he figured that he could have the kind of leverage and have the kind of influence at Twitter that he couldn't have at Facebook. Now, interestingly, Twitter people have been going to the media, as I say, and all off the record, they're saying things like, "We're very worried because after all, we've been working really hard to, have Twitter be a constructive forum." This is all code. Constructive forum means throwing our opponents off the platform. "Oh yeah, we've been neutral arbiters of free speech." No, they haven't been neutral in the slightest. When is the last time they fact check things happening on the left? When's the last time they threw prominent leftists one after the other off the platform. That's never happened. Think of all the people who perpetrated the Russia collusion hoax. One hoax on top of the other. None of them held accountable. All the people who trumpeted the Jussie Smollett hoax. Why are those people, or which one?
Or dictators.
Or right, think of all the dictators, the Iranian mullahs, the Vladimir Putin. All these guys thrive on Twitter. And they don't just call for insurrections. They actually do insurrections. They launch massive violence against their own. Twitter doesn't care. Twitter cheers them on, gives them a massive platform. So the hypocrisy is unspeakable here. And fortunately, Elon Musk is on it. I think he recognizes that he's in a position to do something about this. And delightfully, we'll see what he actually does do. But delightfully, I think he's taking the first steps to actually do it.